The anime begins with a girl named Diva. Diva is created for only one mission, which is to make everyone happy by singing. A blast happens, and a girl comes to another girl and asks if she is in trouble. But instead of telling her, she kills her. Drowned robots are killing people who are alive. Then the girl sings songs in front of dead people. An injured scientist runs toward his lab, takes out the chip, and starts working on the computer. He died and said to Diva that the rest of the people depended on her. Scientists make robots to make human work easier. A's agree to be trained to do all the work. A scientist says to a lady robot that she must sing to make everyone happy. Momoko likes her songs and she calls her Vivy. When she was on her mission to sing, she fell. The circuits in her body are damaging. Archive says don't worry. She will be all right. She says she came 100 years ago. Archive says to accompany him to finish IS. A scientist corrects her problem. Archive has been with her for 100 years. He shows her things that will happen after 100 years. He tells the girl, who is sitting on stage, who will be her successor. She sings a song that's her job, but nobody hears it. Archive tells her about the person who will die if he touches the dustbin. Diva runs fast to him and saves him. She asks him to attend her singing show. Then at night, Archive tells her that she has to help him save the world because AIs will become enemies of humans in the future. Then he tells her that the same person will be murdered at night. She runs fast to him, takes the attack on herself, and saves him. Diva goes to Aikawa to save him in the form of an AI guard. There's an organization named Toke that hates AIs. The Toke organization wants to finish Ayas and Aikawa, who is the owner of the AI company, wants this so the supremacy of humans keeps on AIs. Matsumoto says they set bombs in the building, so they have to run to save Aikawa, the assemblyman. Matsumoto says they have less time. They run toward the first floor. A man with a mask wants to kill Aikawa, but Diva saves him. Diva asks Matsumoto to give her information about the project, but he doesn't. As he doesn't believe her anymore, he says to just follow his order. Then the guards come there and attack Aikawa, but it hits Diva. Guards fit bombs in the building, but Matsumoto hacks their whole system and they are trapped in the building. This huge blast happens there, but Diva saves that man who is the hater of AIS. Matsumoto asks why she saves him and she says she wants to bring smiles. Then Matsumoto tells her that in the future she will be removed from her duty of singing, and she is the only one who is left after a century. Then a huge blast happened in the building. Aikawa was very afraid. Diva came to Aikawa and told him to let go before the building collapsed. They run fast to get out. They took a long jump from the top of the building, and Aikawa was very influenced by her. Aikawa thanked her for saving him. When she goes, Aikawa wishes that she lives long. Then they reach a building, and Matsumoto shows her future, in which Momoka is killed in an accident, and thus her 100-year journey begins. Vivy sings a song in Nyland, and everybody likes it. Doctor checks on her, and she tells him that she sings to please everyone. Then she comes back to her room. Matsumoto tells her that it's a 100-year project, and she will have to work with him. He tells a story about how he brought her to a repair shop and fixed her body. Then he says to her that Momaka's death was an accident. He also says to her that another law takes the place of a naming law that's more favorable toward AUs. She has no choice except to work with him. The AI advances their dreams of reaching the skies. A's ability has given space development a dramatic boost. A guest comes and everybody welcomes him, and Vivy takes off her bags. She must work there for 2 days as temporary staff. A girl named Estella comes to Vivy and asks if she has any trouble with all this, and she says no. Estella says to set a bit of a smile on her face, then appropriate customers are coming from space, and they are nervous. When she goes away, Matsumoto tells her about the girl, a module featuring a gorgeous voice. She is known as Sister. She is the one who crashed the sunrise into Earth. He tells about the crash of the hotel, and the fastest way to accomplish that is to destroy Estella. Diva asks a girl about Estella, and she warns her not to get involved with Estella because she is involved in the death of the previous owner. Estella says that when the owner passed away, she took permission and ran the hotel. An alarm rings there, and everyone gets afraid. But Estella says nothing will happen as it's just a mistake. A girl calls Diva and tells her that she is Yuzuka, the younger sister of Momoka. Vivy is sitting with Yuzuka, and they feel something is wrong. Vivy understands Estella is the cause of all that. Then Estella comes there and attacks, but Vivy runs from there with the girl. Vivy has realized that Estella is not wearing her wristband, and that she is an imposter sent by Toke. Then they see Leclerc's there. Yuzuka is very scared when Matsumoto comes there. Yuzuka was afraid of him, but Diva told her not to worry. Diva tells her A's that data transmits, in human terms, emotion to each other. Diva promises to bring the little girl home and do whatever she has to do. Then she says sorry to Leclerc, takes her arm, and fixes it on her. She says she will take back control of the hotel and must find the real Estella. Estella tells about her twin sister, Elizabeth. But only Estella can move her body. They have the same hair color, and the same program. She says if anyone except Elizabeth is operating the control, it must be Elizabeth. Vivy and Elizabeth fight with each other. Elizabeth falls, and Estella is distraught for her. Vivy says they have to run for control. Estella says she's going to crash the sunrise and start detaching it as much as possible. It will burn up in the atmosphere before it reaches the Earth's surface. Vivy says she can't send data to her, but she says she can because it's her mission. She asks to live out her true mission. Vivy says that she is her younger sister. Estella says, don't forget that they are the AIs and live for their mission. That's the truth. Then Elizabeth comes to Estella and says to remove anxiety from her face. Then she says they don't have enough time. Then Estella announces an apology to the guests for causing them inconvenience, and thanks to the ladies for staying with them. Estella sings a song. 5 years have passed since the sunrise incident. Vivy sings a song, and everybody likes it. Matsumoto comes to her. In the last 5 years, her audience has grown. This is all due to her singularity project, and she also wants to see the project through. He says they wouldn't stop AI's evolution. They go on their next mission and fight there. They sit in the car with Dr. Tatsuya, and he asks them who they are. Matsumoto asks him to tell them about the AI facility that he was involved in building. He brings them to an island and tells them the story of the sunrise incident. He says the island was created as a result to produce AI components and circuits. It was first known as the metal float. He asks her if she was Diva in the sunrise incident. She says yes, but it's all for the sake of conflict between humans and AIs. Tatsuya brings them home, and they meet with his wife, Grace. He showed her a program and told her he was a member of TOE. Matsumoto says they don't involve him in their mission because he may prove dangerous for them. Matsumoto tells Vivian that Grace and Tatsuya are the first human-AI couples in history. They reach the island, and Diva says to Matsumoto that she has finished the war between humans and AIs. Then she hears a song there. Then she activates the program given by the doctor. She recalls her childhood memories with Emi. Then he sees everyone running, and Matsumoto and Diva see what's happening. She sees a man drowning in the water, and she jumps into the sea and saves him. Matsumoto asks her what she is doing. A little boy wakes up in the hospital and asks for his mother. The nurse says that her mother goes overseas and lives with her new family. Then the person wakes up and asks her if she is Diva, an AI program that does nothing except sing. They also talk about Elizabeth, and the man says he is her master. A past scene is shown in which Grace sings a welcome song, and Tatsuya comes to her and asks about the song. Grace tells Tatsuya that her sister Diva used to sing that song. She says she is happy to see him after a long time. He's obsessed with the island. Diva knows the pure intentions of Siaki. The person tells her to stop. She's just a songstress. She says she wants to bring smiles to everyone to make them happy. In the past, Tatsuya was sitting with Grace, and they promised to protect each other. Grace is an AI nurse and says she protects humans for the sake of Tatsuya. Then Tatsuya receives a call. The happiest moments of his life were shattered in the eye of the sunrise. This Grace has given her a mission to survive the metal float, and the girl who is with Tatsuya is a copy of the real Grace. The real Grace becomes part of this island. Tatsuya sets Grace's voice on her ringtone. That's a song by Vivy. Matsumoto says Grace was purely devoted to her mission as an AI nurse. Then Vivy goes to Grace to see her. She has to destroy her to avoid further problems. Then she talks with Tatsuya and says she wants to bring a smile to everyone. He says that her song is like Grace for him because she loves her songs, and he shoots himself. Diva's singing is going very well. The youngsters are very nervous, but she prepares them for their mission. Then she comes to her working area, recalls her successes, and exercises. There's a Zodiac festival celebrating its 12th anniversary this year. She meets with Katie and Margaret. Then she sees Ophelia, who falls into the water and is fully wet. Diva combs in her hair, and she says she's her younger sister. She is nervous because it's her first time singing. Diva says, just dazed by the overwhelming people on the stage. She's talking with her sister. The announcer announces her name, and she goes on stage but is too nervous there. Ophelia sings a very beautiful song. Diva likes it very much. Then, Diva spends hours on stage, but she sees a person singing and runs after him. He enters somewhere and asks the person who he is, but she faces an attack, and somebody like a cube rescues her. Ophelia also comes after her and feels there. She asks what's happened to her and why she ran from the stage. Then she says she loves her songs. Diva asks about her rehearsal. She goes to another place and the same cube appears there. She asks who he is. He says he's just an AI guard. He just says to move back to the place because she doesn't have the authority to enter there. She takes a jump, but he saves her, and she catches that cyber and asks who he is and knows about her name, Vivy. The cube says he has worked with her in the past and has a nobler job than her. Then she asks her name, and he says his name is Matsumoto. He tells them they have to go to Ophelia. Ophelia sings a song, and Antonio rebukes her for saying she will sing a good song one day. Antonio, her support AI, says her voice is good. but she had to put courage into it. Matsumoto tells Diva that Ophelia's suicide has a huge impact on later AI history, and also become a huge catalyst for AI assimilation into human society. Diva is standing there and thinking about her. Matsumoto says it's in the record that Ophelia will commit suicide after her performance. Diva says she has to stop her doing this, and Matsumoto stops her doing this. She goes to Ophelia and asks if there's something that disturbs her. She talks about Antonio's support for AI. Matsumoto tells about his tragic ending when she sees his suicide, which forces her to follow him in death. Ophelia says she likes her songs, and the audience eagerly watches and waits for her to add she wants to become the one that Antonio wants to see. Matsumoto says she should head back now, and then Ophelia sings a song. Then Matsumoto says they worked together, but she didn't listen to him and reveled in berserk mode. Diva is going to Ophelia, but she sees a man on the way and tells Matsumoto about him. Matsumoto warns her to go after him, but she goes and comes to the trap. Then Matsumoto comes to Ophelia and asks what she is doing in her loneliness. He also tells her that she is the partner of Diva and that he comes there to stop her from self-destruction. To be honest, he can feel the despair she's feeling. He says she should continue to sing because it's her mission to sing for everyone. Ophelia laughed to hear it and said he came to rescue her, but there was no Ophelia. There was Antonio in Ophelia's body. Matsumoto says to Antonio that he uses Ophelia's personality to overwrite his memories. He asks why he would do this. Antonio says he does it for the sake of his mission. Ophelia's mission is to make everyone happy by singing, and his mission is to save her. Then they both started fighting there. A person binds Diva and says he has been waiting for the moment for 40 years. He says he has technology that even her partner doesn't have. He tells her a past story. He wants to remove them from the world like Toke. Matsumoto comes there and saves Diva. Then they fought, and Matsumoto was in trouble. He says to Matsumoto that he can't choose anything besides his mission. The man fights with Diva and says she is the only one who can answer him. They were defeated badly by Matsumoto. Everyone is very happy. Antonio died, and they're saying that Ophelia only sings for him and not for anyone else. Ophelia is very injured. She remembers all her memories and says that she will do her best. Ophelia comes to Antonio and says he is the one she wants to make happy the most. The other man who fights with Diva is also lying there. He asks her, she is the one who saves him. He says he lost his purpose in life and reflects on a revelation. And this day, 40 years from now, he gets his second chance. Then Diva says she is going to disappear and it's her final performance. Everyone is waiting for her song, but she is late. Then she reaches the stage and starts singing. Then she says both are the best missions. One is to save the world, and the other is to sing a song to make everyone happy. A girl is sitting there and says she doesn't understand Diva. Diva shows a video from 5 years ago to the children in which she is singing, and then all the children from there also say thanks to her. Matsumoto comes to her and says that after her retirement, she was retrieved to the AI museum. He asks if she can sing. She thinks she found herself disabled. Unfortunately, she cannot sing. Diva said things she could not take her for on stage. In the past, the scientist told Diva that her mission was to sing for everyone. Then a child named Asuma comes to see her in the museum and asks if she can't sing anymore. He says she was very popular, and that's the reason he came to her. Osamu tells her to sing, but she says sorry, but he can race with her. She tells him to bring his friends there, and he says okay. Diva says to Osamu that she looks forward to his next visit, and then he goes. She sits again and recalls her past. When she sang millions of songs, years passed, and Osamu came with a baby girl and gave it to Diva. Her name is Luna. Diva is sitting before the piano and recalling all her memories. Matsumoto says she's corrupt when she's hearing, but she has to sing. He writes a song for her, but she says she feels sleepy. But don't worry, she will wake up when any visitors come. Matsumoto says good night to her and says their ways will come across someday. It's a future where there's no war. A scientist comes to Diva, but she's sleeping, and he sees her music data. Then he goes from there. She wakes up and sees there's fire everywhere, and a girl is singing. Diva sees that some robots killed everyone. She saves a few of them. Then a car comes to her, but Matsumoto comes and saves her. She asks him the reason, and he says he can't explain it to her because he's been in sleep mode for the last 15 years, and today he wakes up. It's the day of war between humans and AIs. Drowning robots are killing everyone. A girl is singing, but in front of dead bodies. An injured scientist works on a computer and asks Diva to help him, like when she helped him 100 years ago. Then the person enters the lab while singing, and they are attacked by Diva, who comes and saves him. Diva receives a message from Osamu. Diva is happy that he survived and she tells him to stop this and protect the kettle. She wants to make people happy. That's gone. The whole city was in danger. Diva and Matsumoto fought to save people. A person points a gun toward them. Yui come there. Dr. Matsumoto says their plans failed. They all ate the members of Toke. Matsumoto says to the doctor that his research would later serve as the basis of a singularity project. They are all talking. Elizabeth asks Diva about Estella at sunrise. She says she completes her mission with a smile on her face. Others say they don't have time to back up. 12 hours remained before the satellites were in orbit, and they crashed into the AI database. The announcer announced that all A's that exist in the affected area should be evacuated ASAP. This is the aggregate I database, the archive. To hear this, she is amazed. She hears a voice from Vivy, allowing them to convey a message to her. Their mission is to wipe out the current human race. They were created 115 years ago on Ariashiki. Their mission was to collect data from AIs and compute the possibilities of every kind of future. At some point, human evolution turned into dependency. Humans are the parents of AIs, and now AIs take the place of humans. Then, in the present, Matsumoto calls her and asks if she's okay. Then they talk about the archive. When they are going, she asks Osamu why she was chosen for the Singularity project. Matsumoto tells her there's no AI from 100 years ago, except her. Diva asks Elizabeth what it means to her to pour her heart into something. Elizabeth and Diva fight with the guards in Ariashiki. Yui is injured and tells Beth to shut down archive, saying she wants to keep going. A person comes and kills her. Beth and Diva run toward her, but many guards attack her and Matsumoto saves her. Then they shift and Diva apologizes for not singing anymore. She says she didn't give it a sound to pour one's heart into something. Matsumoto says it's up to her. Diva is sitting with Matsumoto. Osamu connects with them and glances at her. There's no one else in the world who knows her face as well as he does. He says if she succeeds, rather than if his head hits away, they have to go straight to Toke's rescue. She says if she is for this, then he will. Osamu says nothing happens unless they can shut down the archive. Matsumoto says the future and humankind are in her hands. Vivy says let's carry them out as a singular project. Vivy remembers, in the past, when she woke up and when huge blasts were happening. People are killing each other and singing songs. Then Vivy wakes up and goes to Yui and tells her that Dr. Matsumoto sent her his cost of life. She asks Yui to help her change the future. First, Elizabeth does not agree with her, and then she tells Elizabeth that she exists to protect Yui and Toke. Vivy says to Yui that she needs her help. She's going to deploy a program that blocks disease from all over the world. To stop them, she has to launch a shutdown program across the network. Yui says to Vivy that she believes, like her grandfather, that humans and AI can coexist. She's talking with Matsumoto and says she will wait for the archive to arrive. Then she remembers the void that gives her hours left to orbit. Elizabeth asks her if she's ready for it. Archive may stop her body. She says yes. Vivy says to Yui that she has the same mission as her, that humans and A's live together. Navi talks to her and says she is in a program that has to sing so. Why is she doing all this? Then she sees Momoka there, and she asks why she forgot about her diva. She says to Momoka, who calls her Vivy, that she is not diva. She asks Navi to forgive her. She sings a song and says she has to purify her heart by singing. Because to her, pouring her heart into something means singing with her memories. She says her memories are her heart, and she can't replace them with anything. She sings a song, and Monika claps to hear the song. She's lying there and saying thanks to everyone for their kind attention, then the anime ends here.